Welcome to Church 3.0, presented by Apollos, a podcast where we explore the nuances of modern Christian culture and the challenges of cultivating community while maintaining impact and relevance in the church. Join Tyler Vance, COO of Apollos, as he talks to church leaders from around the world to gain a deeper understanding of the Christian faith in a modern context. Push boundaries, change lives, create a more hopeful future.
Hey guys, thank you for jumping in today with us. We've got a super special guest today. I'm honored to get to share some time with you. We're on site at Faith Promise again today, and we have Pastor Zac, the senior pastor of Faith Promise Church. Thank you for joining us today and investing in some time.
I'm pumped, man. I love you. I love what we're doing, so it's exciting.
Listen, we're going to have a blast today. You better buckle up. We might say some controversial things. Maybe we could talk about golf.
Yeah.
We've shared some moments there. But
the Lord would be less involved if we talked about golf. But I'm fine to go there.
Touche. My kids have learned everything that exists in the world of four letters on the golf course.
Yes.
Not a great parenting thing, but
funny.
It happens. I had the privilege, as my grandpa taught me those same things.
Same words.
On the golf course when I was younger. Man, you are a few years into transitioning senior leadership of Faith Promise Church. Man, we've already actually talked to Pastor Josh, who is the executive pastor here at Faith Promise, and actually got his perspective on that. I'd love just to share with you. You give us the perspective of what it's like to transition.
Man, I wish I could have heard Josh's perspective, make sure we didn't contradict each other. No, it's wild. So I was, and I know it's different for everybody, but some specifics around ours, which you may know. Right now I've been on staff for 16 years. So I was on staff for 14 years before I became the senior pastor. My dad was the only senior pastor before. Yeah. So those are some unique things to our transition. But it's wild, man. I'm telling you, again, I grew up with my dad. I never really had a season of falling away from the church. I started here when I was 19 as a janitor and kind of worked my way through stuff. But there's not anything that can prepare you for like being the senior pastor, transitioning in.
Yeah.
If there were, I feel like I had every opportunity. We would talk about church every Sunday, like while we had lunch, not in a negative way. We just loved it. Our whole family did. But there's just nothing that prepares you for like stepping in. And if you said, "Hey, what's the part you didn't realize?" I didn't realize how personal everything was.
Oh gosh,
to
that's
give you
good.
An anecdotal story, which this shows my flesh, what a bad guy I am. Me and Dad, for Thanksgiving, we fry turkeys because I don't know how else you would cook one. And so we're frying turkeys, right? And me and Dad down there frying is kind of our thing. Like he's down there, he's smoking a cigar. Me and my brother, we're just hanging out. It's awesome. It's one of our like favorite family things. And I'm 19, and there's a staff member that I don't approve of. And I'm like, Dad, you got to fire that person. That's what I tell him. And we're just kind of going back and forth. And Dad's being super patient with me because I'm a dummy in that moment.
Yeah.
And he just said, Zac, one day maybe the buck will stop at your desk. And I hope you remember this conversation. The buck has stopped at my desk, and that buck is heavier than I could ever imagine it would have been. How personal it all felt. And I'm telling you, it probably took me a year and a half to handle the weight with any sort of grace, or to even let God's grace in on that. So it's just a wild experience, man. I mean, we go into more detail of it, but it's just crazy. Hardest season of my life by a long shot.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that you've done really well outside looking in, right, is you've been intentional in recrafting vision, recrafting culture, recrafting values.
Yeah.
Of Faith Promise Church. What are some wins along the way of that?
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, let me tell you one, just to honor my dad and Josh. We sat down, and this is crazy. I feel like anybody who's going through transition should write this down, tattoo this somewhere. Dad said, "What do you want to be different?" And let me start to change it because I have more equity. So like just one example. Dad met the Lord, was more in a Southern Baptist context. So Dad's spirit-filled, got baptized in the Spirit while he was going through seminary, but his training didn't necessarily like intertwine that in. So I remember like whenever I was filled with the Holy Spirit, I was asking Dad about why, like how we talk about that, things like that.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I don't want to have like charismania. I want like there to be order and excellence and things like that, but I want us to be a little bit more spirit filled. And so he said, what can I do? I said, would you tell the staff the story of you getting spirit filled and what the Holy Spirit's part in your life was? So I did some good things, but there's the saying, behind every successful man, there's like a surprise woman.
Absolutely.
Well, the list of people behind me, beside me, around me, in front of me, that really hemmed all this stuff in, who don't get as much credit as they deserve, are all there. That being one for Dad. And so just another kind of anecdotal thing, I remember when I came in with my first set of vision and values for the future of Faith Promise, and I presented to the executive team. And that was the moment where everybody was like, oh, this is going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And you could feel like Dad pushing back on stuff like that. But the key of having somebody like Josh, because first of all, I'm Dad's son, Dad's my dad. So it's hard to divorce that from the already tension of changing something.
Sure, absolutely.
So it was great to have somebody like Josh outside who doesn't have the same emotional charge to it. And he said, well, Pastor, talking about my dad, he said, it sounds like you're not saying no. It sounds like you're saying not yet. And so, which was true. But just to get back to the specifics of the question you asked, what were some wins along the way? So I'm a big, which you are too, big accountability guy.
Yep.
And so the new vision for Faith Promise, we exist to win the world by equipping Christ followers to win their world, starting with 1% in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And so I would say two big things that happened there. One was, hey, we need to bring some accountability that the staff is sharing our faith. So there's a real personal evangelism thing.
Yeah.
And I remember in the all staff where I said, hey guys, starting next year, at the end of every month, you're going to get a survey and you're just going to answer the question, did you share your faith?
Ooh.
It's not, the question was not, did people get saved?
Yeah.
The question was, and it's not, did you invite to church? The question is, did you share your faith? And so last year, which we're still like wrapping up transition.
Yeah.
So last year we declined by 5% in attendance, which none of us like that, but it's just the season, which we're staving off. We're in a good place. But the staff shared their faith 1,332 times. And we set a baptism record. So in a year where we decreased in attendance by 5%, we baptized 980 people, which is more than any other year. So it's almost like the Lord saying, hey, I know these like historical metrics that you say matter, which they matter, but it's like, hey, I can work, you're on the right track. So I feel like it was the Lord's grace. Yeah. So we brought accountability around what mattered most. And then we had to answer some hard questions because visionaries, which I would say is a lot of how I lead, don't love clarifying questions because I feel like it's slowing us down, feels like a lack of faith, whatever the response is. I kept on getting the question, which drove me nuts. I hated this question. What is an equipped Christ follower? And it would just, I'm telling you, Tyler, it would make my blood boil. I'm like, how do you not know what an equipped Christ follower is? And that's what somebody who's subconsciously competent and honestly a little bit of a lazy leader would get mad at that question. It's in the vision. We exist to win the world by equipping Christ followers. So whenever the people I'm leading, like, hey, buddy, what's an equipped Christ follower? And I have a poor response. So like wrestling that. And then like me being secure enough to let people like into my heart. And I would tell them and they'd be like, hey, it's not clear enough. I'd tell them, hey, it's not clear enough. Hey, and then we would have to, but every time like I would give it to them and get their hands on it, it would get way better, give it back and be like, hey, could you add some more? Yeah. And so again, I think there's a lot, like you've seen like the culture deck that we made and some things like that. But those were some things I think that were really pivotal foundationally to creating what I sincerely believe we have a long way to go. Sure. I haven't found anybody that's clarified the culture as well as we have because we learned from some of the best. Sure. And so, yeah.
Well, one of the things, I mean, even in your example of the staff story, which I've run into before, leading church staff members. Yeah. It's like, well, why would I attend on the week? It's like, I'm sorry. Like, where is this disconnect in your life? Yeah. So I can relate to some of that, but the quality of a great leader is inspect what you expect. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you just built a system, even though you say you're a visionary leader, you obviously have the right people around you to build systems to inspect what you expect.
Yeah. And what was good is dad was, I would say dad was more of a visionary leader than I am. When I say like he operated like strictly in that gift.
Yeah.
Whereas like Josh, who you spend time with, Josh has been in my life for 22 years. And so, and you know how the pendulum swings too far? Like, so
Sure.
like I could have swung sincerely to almost like an executive pastor type thing where this stuff like has to be clear and whatever. But Josh did a good job of helping me see, hey, this part, we wouldn't be here without your dad. Because of the visionary part of it.
Yeah.
But then again, if there's not accountability or measures, you can't do the learning cycle and things like that.
Yeah.
So those mentors were really helpful and not swinging too far, but also keeping the visionary part of it.
Sure. One of the key things about your current vision that you share with me, and there's a passion for it beyond the fixture of Faith Promise Church, is the WIN network.
Yeah.
Can you describe that? Share it?
Yeah. And if I'm going to do a real condensed version, then if you want more, essentially, whenever I became senior pastor, I felt like God was saying, reach 1% of the state of Tennessee. And so 1% of the state of Tennessee at the time was 70,000.
Yeah.
That was right before the pandemic. It's exploded since then.
Yeah.
So 1% of Tennessee. So we're pursuing that in the traditional manner. Through some experiences with God, realized what we do is too slow and is too expensive. We wouldn't reach the vision till my son retired, and it would cost $300 to $500 million.
Wow.
Which God could give us, but nothing in our history bore out that that's how we operated. So we had to change how we operated.
Yeah.
And so, long story short, and it's not just when I say, and this was again, the Lord had to help me get there. But it's not like reaching 1% of the state of Tennessee, like we run 70,000 on the weekend.
Yeah.
It was equipping 1% of state of Tennessee or 70,000 people to win their world, which for us, if you made it really short, it's win-win. It's somebody's equipped to win their world if they know, WIN, what is next in their walk with God, and WIN, who is next for me to impact for eternity. I've been following the Lord for a long time, really hard. I've never outgrown those win-win questions.
Yeah.
And they're cyclical and they help you move. So the Lord just essentially brought me to a kind of a breaking point of, I told you to equip 1% of the state of Tennessee to win their world, not run 70,000 in attendance. So that meant that other churches need to be involved. So we created the WIN Network, which it's very interesting where you would think the more freedom, because it's really more of a movement than a network. We may have named it poorly. We may need to change that, to be honest with you. But it's, because it really is like, hey, you and I talked about it. Like, hey, what's it mean to be a part? It means like you're a part, like you're committed relationally and accountability that we're going to accomplish this vision of seeing 1% of the state of Tennessee equipped to win their world. So after they're saved and baptized at our churches, we're not going to treat baptism like the best day. It's the beginning day. And from there, we're going to equip them to win their world. And we have some ways that we share to do that. But if you ask me, how do you do that? I can tell you. But I want you, I just want you to be committed to the vision. And like, how is God leading you to equip Christ followers to win their world, where more people are being saved Monday through Saturday than on Sunday. Like Sundays for celebrating all the ministry that the saints did Monday through Saturday. So that's kind of, again, a real short version of like why the WIN Network came and then what we're going after.
Yeah. Your entire team resonates and they say back that Monday through Saturday mantra. You guys have done a really good job of instilling that in your team. So that's a deep cultural thing from an outside perspective. Just you probably don't get to see that.
Yeah, that's good.
So you've done a really good job of pushing that culture in. You have invited churches into WIN Network. Already.
Yes.
Just very beginning stage. You guys are early in this.
Right. Can
you talk about the response you've gotten so far?
So again, part of the reason I feel like these things get ingrained is because we're just telling stories. We're just telling stories. So we had our WIN Network gathering, invite these guys in, and we start talking about our passion for not our passion, God's passion for personal evangelism. Right?
Yeah.
You and I, we like, kind of KPIs and accountability. Think about it this way, which I hadn't said this to you. If there was a verse that was on your end of life review, so like you're going to have like end of year reviews, everybody probably has those. Hopefully you do. You think about what's on your end of life review. And I think it's going to be Matthew 18, 17 through 20. And I like to include 17 because 17 said, and some doubted.
Yeah.
But they got to stay 2. I doubt.
Yeah.
I doubt, but my doubt doesn't disqualify. So, like, we share stories. So we're sharing this, right? And there's 15 churches at the gathering. Well, these 3 guys come from City Light in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay.
Pastor Kenny, 2 of his campus pastors, they come, and they're so fired up. Whenever they leave, they say, "We're going to share the gospel with the next person we see." Which
Absolutely.
This is the vibe. This is exactly what's happening. So what we're wanting. They walk up to a hotel in the greater Knoxville area, and the person who's checking them in is a young man dressed as a woman. So you would just assume potentially like a transgender woman checking them in, transgender girl checking them in. But name tag says, I won't say their names. Name tag, it's a biblical name, but name tag. And they kind of soft sell it, hey, have a blessed day or whatever, and they walk to they don't do it. They walk to the elevator. Well, one of the campus pastors says out loud, the door's closing, that's not what we said we were going to do.
Ooh.
Like a movie, puts his hand out, closes it, the door doesn't close, he walks out, and the person's name, I just, in case, it's a biblical name. And he says, hey, do you know what your name means? And no, I don't know what my name means. And he says, from the Bible. Like what you kind of saw me do with Evelyn yesterday at the restaurant. And so when you said, how does church respond? People realize. So like, I like being healthy. If people get around me and they're not healthy, like just the passion for it, dude. I want you to be able to get in the floor and play with your kids. I want you to be able to go on hikes. Like, like whenever my kids are out of the house, dude, me and my wife are going to travel the world. Sure. I really do. I'm going to outlive my wife because she eats more M&Ms than I do. I'm going to outlive her.
Noted.
And 100%. And I want to go. And if the Lord said, hey, how do you get to go? I want to go and smuggle Bibles somewhere or something like that. Like that's how I'd like to go, right? But if you're not faithful with this, and when people hear stuff like that, they're like, man, I need to take care of myself. We want to be the people that when you're around, you're like, I got to share my faith, man. I got to do that. And so that your question was, how do churches respond? They responded with, we're not getting this anywhere else. Nobody else is making me feel this way. When I go to other conferences, I'm challenged for my church to grow. Sure. And we're like, well, that's the laggest of the goals. I don't think laggest is a word, but it's the most lag goals. The lead goal is that people Jesus. Yes. And so I think there's been a great response. Again, and we need to get better as the leadership. Like you said, we just started going, and so we'll get better. But yeah, that's how they're responding.
Dude, that's incredible. And I'll just tell you guys, from being around you personally, but your staff, it is, you guys breathe it, you live it. And you talked about, we're at a restaurant yesterday, our waitress comes up and you very intuitive. I know you guys share this because to one of the things, not many people understand how to initiate that conversation. Mm-hmm. So if you're a person that prays for your food before you eat, all you did was ask the question, hey, we're going to pray for our food. Is there anything we could pray for you for? Mm-hmm. And in a moment, it's this opening up of a really personal thing and struggle. And just this moment happened because of a simple question. It is in not your DNA. It's just your faith. Yeah. It is just the who you guys are. And so
I'm telling you, like we should be the corner of the market on loving people, the church.
Well,
we should be.
Yeah.
But the things that we do, the things that the Lord's given us to do, like some of them are so simple. So like for the lost, if you say, hey, how can I pray for you? First of all, I've asked that question. We're probably getting to the thousands of times now. And I've never had anybody say, I can't believe you'd ask me that. I've had people that say, literally, this is a crazy statement, but it's true and it bears out in the data. I don't believe in God, but you can pray for this.
Sure.
You know what I'll ask sometimes? If the Holy Spirit prompts more boldness, I'll say, hey, it's a crazy question. What if the Lord did for you right now would help you believe that he's real? And then we'll pray for it as soon as they walk away. And it's usually there's tears dropping in our food. We're just begging the Lord, would you, whatever. But then you talk about Christian leadership. A lot of people listen to this are believers. If you would just ask other Christians how their quiet times are, you're going to put yourself in an echelon of leaders in their life. This the top 1%.
Sure, absolutely.
Ask Christians who asked you about your quiet time. Not just who asked you, but who asked you with any regularity. Because I started doing that because my dad did it for me.
Yeah.
And people would respond odd. So I finally asked one guy, I said, hey, when I asked you how your quiet time is, you respond a little bit weird. Have I offended you? He was an older guy. I was a 21-year-old student pastor. And he said, nobody's ever asked me that, and I feel bad. Well, we feel bad because his quiet time's not great.
Sure.
But he said, nobody ever asked me that. And that's when I realized, is there a more like a rudimentary question that nobody's asking? So you want to be a better leader if you just ask the people, like, so all of our team we do words for the year.
Yeah.
So like I know my team's word for the year, and you want to go in. If you know your team's kids or wives or their spouse's word for the year, do you start? Josh Whitehead, the guy you mentioned.
Yeah.
Ever since my kids were little, when they walk in, he gets down on his knee, and he knows their words, and he usually whispers in their ear. It's something about how much the Lord loves them. Usually how much dad loves them and their mom loves them. And it's just this, and he gets up. If you heard it, you'd be like, anybody could say that.
Yeah.
And the place he has in my heart, because he says it and he says it continually, it's just wild, So either way,
simple disciplines
Yeah.
are the foundation of our faith.
For sure.
As leaders, I am called to lead, but man, Jesus saved me first.
Yeah. That's right.
Before anything else.
Yeah.
Totally. And that is my first thing.
Yeah.
And we never need to get that twisted.
Yeah.
Ever. Right. You and I have talked about Apollos' role in being a foundational piece for how you've equipped your church to live out that.
Yeah.
Right. And you shared some things even about how you're in the app daily, how you're asking for prayer from your church. We talked just a little bit about like, what's the secret nugget you've discovered by giving people a place to develop spiritually?
Let me tell you something I hadn't told you yet. Just a little
gosh.
nugget. Something I saved for you. Because I just for full disclosure, when people ask me about Faith Promise, I talk about the app. So it has nothing to do with who you are, the position you have. I love the Faith Promise app. I love it. But just to let you know how much I love it, because you measure your treasure, right?
Sure.
Our assimilation process, next steps, growth track, whatever you call it, it's only 2 weeks. And the two things we care you leave with is a personal relationship with God and understanding how you're designed. The mechanism we use for a personal relationship with God is a Faith Promise app. So, hey, because most people start asking people, hey, did anybody teach you to have a quiet time? It's across the board no. So, hey, how do I have a quiet time? Can you think right now? You and I have been following the Lord for a long time, been in church ministry for decades.
Yeah.
Is there a better foundation to a time with the Lord than gratitude, prayer, and the Bible?
No.
And so that's what we do.
Duh.
So like whenever you say, because for me, and again, I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but if you were to take an inventory of your assimilation process and it's all about you, then you are on your way to dying as a church. Because you know what I'm saying? Because like at some point, like it's if you said, well, give me a Bible verse for your assimilation process. Well, it'd be Ephesians 4:12. That we have our roles as apostles, prophets, teachers to equip the saints to do the work of the ministry. And they can't do the work of the ministry without a supernatural relationship. It's an app on my phone, which is very natural, but it becomes supernatural when you start praying, reading the word. So just so you know, I could tell you stuff, but if I showed you something, like how does it manifest? We're going to talk about it probably every 2 or 3 weekends, or every other or every third weekend. We're going to talk about the app, but it's in our assimilation process. So for me, I think so. Something I learned in the transition process is something called key stakeholder buy-in. And so, you know what I'm saying? It would, you know all about it. But if the senior leader's not going to do it, then don't do it. And so an elder at our church gave us this like high level software to do like KPIs and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just flopping. And I'm the chief of staff at the time. Like, what is happening? And so he and I are talking. I'm frustrated, and I think it's the tool's fault. And he came to an all staff where we were celebrating Dad's ministry.
Yeah.
And there was a song that they say, kind of a parody thing, and there was a joke in there about how Dad didn't use the limb, which that's what the software is called, the limb. And he said, that's why. He said, why in the world would anybody use it if the leader of the organization doesn't use it?
Yeah.
And so we literally ask before we invest in something or something like that, hey, will Zach and the CPs use it? And if I go 2 weeks and I don't see our CPs in the app, I send a text message out there, be like, hey, just so you guys know, if I'm not seeing your prayers, they're not seeing your prayers. So again, I think there's a lot of different things I could tell you about it, but something for me, I told you this, I'm going to put prayers in there once or twice a day. And so how many times, if you're praying for your church, I did it this morning where I was like, I wish everybody knew that. Well, the app gives you a way where everybody could know that. Everybody could know you're praying for that. Everybody, if people say all the time, I wish I knew how to pray for my kids like you do. It's like, well, hey, I put a prayer in the app every day. Yeah. So like probably once a month, which I was telling Tyler this, once a month, I'm gonna integrate it in, and I'm gonna say, hey, I would love for you to follow me on the app so that you get a notification when I pray. Because a lot of you guys say, how can I pray for you? How can I serve you? Well, the best way you can serve me is by praying for me, and I'm going to give you a prompt every day on how to pray for me. And so just the synergy as well. We're big on synergy.
Sure.
So what would you give if everybody in your church could read the same Bible passage every day, and you could give them a thought from it? So right now we're in a series. It's been crazy through James called Faith Works, bro. It's been nuts. But this is what we've done in the app. Every week, we read the same chapter the whole week, but there's a different little devotional thought to it. So we're in James 4, which the campus pastors preached this last weekend. Most of them didn't get past verse 6. And it's like, well, what about all this stuff I want to give them besides that? It's like, well, hey, in the app, all week, we have 7 more days. And you know what? Because I guarantee you, any pastor that's listening to this, they have had more stuff they want to say.
Sure.
So I do a full message run on Thursdays. And then the team has my outline. And so sometimes they'll say, hey, there's a great Bible project for this point. Take it out of your message and just tell them there's a resource in the app.
Yeah.
So there'll be like a from this weekend's message extra or something like that.
Yeah.
And they'll have it in there, go watch videos. So you want people to have a quiet time, then resource it. And so that's what we do with the app, amongst other things, but that's what matters the most to me.
Sure.
Right now.
No. And I mean, as a shepherd of the flock, being able to point them all in the same direction.
It's huge.
Yeah. You just, that's exactly what you're describing.
Yeah.
If you could all move towards the heart of God.
Right.
At the same pace direction.
Yeah.
That's
Can I tell you one more thing? So something I loved, we talked about the stats that happen in people's lives, but one stat that's crazy is I was reading about how many times other organizations touched their customers. Starbucks, Target were the ones that stuck out. It was a bunch of times, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, how do we even do that? And that's what we're talking about, like digital discipleship, engagement. Digital engagement was the word we were using. And so if we touch people, like if they would come on the weekend, like we get an access point to their life. If they're on the winning team or what we call volunteers, they get a contact there. But that's 2 a week. So there's 169 hours in a week, and we're getting an hour 10 of it. So that there's not, I know it's spirit filled and God can do anything, but think about this. At Faith Promise right now, I think the last time I asked, within 5 minutes of somebody putting a prayer request on the app, they get prayed for 14 times. So on average.
Yeah.
So think about, and if which we beg you to do it, turn on notifications. So if you turn on notifications and you put a prayer in there every day, I don't know what 14 times 7 is.
Yeah.
But our touches, our connections just went from 1 to whatever that number is, right? 98. So now we're competing with Target. Repeat that. Now we're competing with Target on the connections to our people. And so, it's not just connections on ads or emails asking them to do stuff.
No.
It's praying for what they asked. It's people like it. I go through and it's serious, it's not contrived. I'll go through and read the journal entries on the scripture, and I like it. And not everybody goes and looks, but it means something to them that me or their campus pastor are going to liken the things that they're saying about scripture. And that's another connection. Sure. So we have the potential to 100+ connections a week with our people. There was no way to do that before the Faith Promise app in college.
Yeah. Well, it's you have a lever to pastor people that many don't have.
We didn't have it before.
right?
Yeah.
And I think if you go to even your concept of your movement towards win, like what's your next step? If you're going to get 1% of the state of Tennessee,
Yeah.
and you don't steward what God has already put in your hand,
yeah,
give me the spiritual principle that you expect
you get
more.
more. Right. You don't. Yeah.
Like that doesn't exist.
It's actually what you've been given is given to somebody who is faithful.
Yeah.
100%.
And I think one of the scriptures that haunts me is the parable of the talents, and it's not the 5 or the 3 guy, it's the 1 guy, and it's like, get away from me.
Yeah, and the deal, man, in that parable, they were all. This gets savage as me. I just got this recently, reading this book called Spiritual Leadership, by I think something saying Oswald Sanders, talks about time, and he said in the parable of the talents, they all got different amount of talents. We even call it the parable of the talents.
Yeah,
but why don't we call it the parable of the time? They all got the same amount of time.
Yeah,
They all had different amount. They got different amount of talents, but we all had the same amount of time. And so just for me, it was like, what am I doing? I spend so much time thinking about my talents, and that's none of my business. My business is the time, you know? And so, but again, man, Apollos and the paper on that in Apollos has, in my opinion, multiplied the time.
absolutely.
Because before they had to be here for me to pray for them.
Absolutely.
And so it multiplies the time, the access, the service, the pastoring. And now you can message people. So man, if the Spirit speaks, you can message somebody when they pray. Is that either way? I'm all in. I love it.
Well, we appreciate your partnership. And I said this to Josh, you guys are pushing us forward as we partner together. And we love that. We love working with churches that are genuinely going, okay, God, how might we do next?
Yeah.
And you guys have just been such great partners in that. And I love seeing the momentum of that. And Josh is that dude can tell a story and make you cry. Yeah. He's a little bit of passion. You guys have a little bit of passion around just your some. Entire team.
Just some. My wife says we're the most.
Oh,
we're the most. And okay. I used to, because we're kind of getting more and more where we're pastoring together, which I think is really healthy, because she's just a great mother to the house. She's a great leader, but we're just a lot. We're just a lot, and I just realized Faith Promise, we're just a lot, and we don't need to try to sugarcoat or anything like that. So like that passion, we're just a lot. Somebody asked the other day, how can I do like ministry in my like home or at work, and like the Win Your World stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, if you just loved your relationship with the Lord and you loved the life He gave you, the percentage of humans that you're in at that point is tiny. If people asked you, how are you doing? And you said, I'm amazing.
Yeah.
Every time I do that, people are like, why? Is it your birthday? Is something happening? I'm like,
yeah. The
Lord loves me today, and I'm standing in front of you. It's a killer day. And like you're talking about 1 in 1,000. You just made yourself and that's honestly, it's pretty easy. My wife told me the other day, she said, hey, you don't have a reason to be in a bad mood, so you shouldn't have to have a reason to be in a good mood, should you? And so that's what we tell each other now. If we're on the line or in a bad mood, we're like, hey, we don't have to have a reason to be in a good mood. Actually, if you took an inventory of the reasons that make up our life, we should have a stinking good attitude, right? Yeah. And so just that alone, so either way.
Yeah. Listen, thank you for investing time today. I want to end with just a short, non-prepared hot takes. Okay. First off, I do have to ask a very controversial question. What are the challenges with having an LSU fan on staff?
It is not the healthy need a doctor, but the sick, as the Lord says.
Okay, all right.
Same thing if you asked about a Missouri fan.
Oh, listen, I think no. Listen, this is completely unplanned. I don't think Missouri fans are disillusional.
No. LSU fans, and UT fans. We're the worst about it, dude. Every year is 98.
I think Missouri fans check a little higher on the reality testing.
Yeah.
Nebraska, in our house, Nebraska fans are, they're the worst.
They're confused.
They're
confused.
Yeah. They're living in the good old days.
Yeah. The triple option days. That's a long time ago, dude. There wasn't even color on your TVs. That's amazing.
Yeah, they're 20 head coaches removed from that. All right. Hot take number 2. So LSU fan in the house, we recognize that. Hot take number 2. Weirdest senior pastor trend in fashion right now.
Oh, man. My wife tries to keep me updated on these. Oh, gosh. What is the weirdest senior pastor trend? Oh, man, I don't know. You're more, you might be, can you give me some options that you've seen?
No.
You don't,
I just want the thing, the blink.
Gosh, off the top, I don't know. Gosh, that's a bummer. I wanted to give
Tell me
you
the last time you wore DV.
Let me say it more diplomatically. I was at a more rural campus, and I had a pink DV, and my sexuality wasn't called into question; it was accused. And that was more of a scoop neck. But we've kind of went away from those.
Yeah, I know.
You know, the baggier pants. I took all the social media off my phone, so I just see what my wife sends me. Really. So yeah, man, I don't know. You know. Spitting in somebody's eyes isn't ideal. But that wasn't a trend. That was just a one-off. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay. If you were in an emergency situation, something crazy,
yeah.
Who's the first senior pastor you're calling?
The first senior pastor I'm calling? Oh, man. So abroad or local? Oh, so it's like I'd say Josh Surratt. He walked me through the transition.
Yeah.
You know, they were him and the Mullins, but Josh is just super kind. They were on vacation the other day. He's like, hey man, y'all just come stay in our house while we're gone. We hear their dogs. I hope that gets quick this thing to him. The real bummer, dude. He's got these little English bulldogs. I hope Lisa doesn't see this. I love Lisa. But I text Mike, these aren't even real dogs, dude. Like I heard them barking, and it's just, first of all, if they bark too much, they throw up. It's the craziest, dude. Josh, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. But yeah, he would be the person I would call.
Great. We have a friend with English bulldogs, and they'll just be laying around, and it's like, what is that noise?
And with the smell, dude. Oh, the smell. It's brilliant.
Yeah. No, that's true. They're tutors.
100%. Yeah.
Is that. Great. Next big thing, faith promise, if God allows it.
Next big thing, which I mean, part of this we're working with you. This culture that the Lord's given us to equip Christ followers to win their world. I really do believe that we're going to be able to step into a space and help families live a culture where they have a discipleship formation that ends with salvations. And so we're going to keep planting campuses and planting churches and doing that kind of stuff. But if you said, hey, the biggest thing I'm most excited about is we're seeing a sweep across America, especially with Gen Z, where there's this draw to the Bible and draw to the Word. Well, again, man, if discipleship doesn't net in salvations, that isn't discipleship. You know, disciples make disciples. That's what Jesus told us to do in Matthew 28. And so I feel like the Lord is slowly preparing us to be able to just give us the anointing. That's what I'm praying for, is the anointing to be able to equip families, individuals, churches, to be able to have a win your world culture Monday through Saturday, and just really honor the Lord with seeing the lost found.
That's a great place to say thank you for the time. Thank you for your hospitality as I've got to come and be a part of just a glimpse of what God is doing.
We love it
in this space. So thank you.
If Missouri and Tennessee play, you have to come experience kneeling.
I don't know if I'm built for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.